Welcome in, everybody. This is Scott Strode with Blue Chips Global and Postplay Media LLC. Once again, we are sponsored by Bracket Sports. Bracket Sports hosts 13 AAU travel tournaments in the states of West Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, and the national championship and 13th event is in lovely Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which I just returned from about 48 hours ago. With us today is the head coach at Berea. Am I saying that right, Coach? Berea?
You got it.
Berea College, Austin Newton, head coach, and he is quite an interesting fella. And after reading his bio, interesting in several different ways. So, Coach, glad to have you on, and glad our friend Cody hooked us up and got you on here, and he's been looking forward to having you on. So. Tell us a little bit about yourself and just where all this basketball madness started for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. I've been at Berea College now for 4 years and grew up in the great basketball state of Kentucky and dreamed about playing for the Kentucky Wildcats when I was a kid. Just had
Me
an
too.
obsession. Yeah, I think we all did at one point. Just had an obsession with basketball and loved it, and turned out to be a decent high school player at Campbellsville High School in Kentucky. And my senior year at Campbellsville, there was a fellow by the name of Travis Ford who was the coach at Campbellsville University, NAIA school that's still there in Campbellsville. And he was recruiting me to come to Campbellsville to play for him. And after my senior year, he got the job at Eastern Kentucky University. And so I'm not a very big guy. I'm about 5'8". Travis is a small guard. And so I think he had a special place in his heart for small guards like myself. So he gave me an opportunity. I was a walk-on at EKU and thought I wanted to coach, and took that opportunity at EKU to really learn from Travis and to experience basketball at the highest level. I think if I was playing in today's world, there's no way that a kid like me makes it on a Division I team. So I was in a good era where guys like me could walk on and get that experience. And my first couple of years at EKU, we were literally the worst team in college basketball, according to the RPI. When I say the worst team, we were dead last. And funny story, we actually used to play during shoot around. We would play 5-on-5 the day of a game. And whoever won the 5-on-5 scrimmage at shoot around got to start the game that night. So I started about 8 games my freshman year, and probably the highlight of my basketball career was I started and played 36 minutes against Louisville at Freedom Hall. It was Rick
Oh, wow.
Pitino's first year coaching, so that was a dream come true, and played really well. We actually played them close. So after my freshman year, didn't play a ton, but still knew that I wanted to coach. And by my senior year, we had kind of flipped that program around with a mixture of some JUCO guys and some program guys like myself. And my senior year, I was a captain on the 2005 OVC championship team at EKU. So we won the OVC, and they matched us up against University of Kentucky, of all teams, in the NCAA tournament. So it was a 15 versus a 2 matchup, and played them really close. And after that season, Travis started getting some looks at some different jobs, and he got the job at University of Massachusetts. And so I was graduating from EKU and didn't really know, thought I wanted to coach, but he gave me my first opportunity right out of college to be the video coordinator at UMass. So took me a while to decide to do that because it was a long way from home. It's cold up in the Northeast, and most importantly, I had a cute little blonde that I met at EKU that was still working on her degree, and she didn't want me to go, but I went on, and I was up there for 2 years with Travis as the video coordinator, and that pretty little blonde said that I needed to move home, and we got married, and I was out of coaching for a couple years, and then a spot back at my alma mater at EKU opened up with Jeff Neubauer, who was a great coach. Actually spent some time on John Beeline's staff at West Virginia.
Yeah.
And so I started back at EKU as in operations guy, and I did that for 2 years, and then I was a full-time assistant for 6 years at EKU, and we had some really good teams. And when I moved home from Massachusetts, I made a commitment to my wife and to my family that I wanted to be a guy that didn't move my family all over the country chasing jobs. And so I knew that if I wanted to continue to coach, that I would have to find something, here in Kentucky, something local. And
Hmm.
we ended up having a lot of success under Coach Neubauer. We had the three winningest seasons in school history. Went to the NCAA tournament again and played Kansas in the NCAA tournament. Again, played them really close. I had the scouting report, so that was another dream come true moment. Just standing up on that sideline and staring down at Wiggins and Embiid and those guys, and trying to knock them off. And
Yeah.
we had a good run there, and so Neubauer ended up getting a new job at Fordham up in the Bronx, New York, and I had the opportunity to go with him as an assistant, but I wanted to stay true to that commitment that I made to my family. So I tried to stick around and stay on staff at EKU, and the new coach came in and brought his own guys, which happens a lot. So actually transitioned and did some administration work there at EKU. I did some fundraising for athletics. Did that for 2.5, 3 years, and really enjoyed it. Got to meet a lot of EKU alums and raised a lot of money for EKU athletics, but just felt like something was missing. Just being involved with basketball and sports and coaching and being a part of a team, felt like something was missing, and an opportunity came open here in Berea, Kentucky, at Madison Southern High School, and that's where I got my first head coaching job. Coached at Madison Southern for 4 years, and by the end of my time there, we were very successful and won a district championship. Won our first ever regional tournament game. And then after that season, opportunity here at Berea College opened up. And I knew that Berea College had transitioned to D3. We had been NAIA for a long time, several years. And so I'm sure we'll talk more about the no tuition model that Berea College operates on. But when I started thinking about Division III and not paying any tuition, and we have tremendous facilities here at Berea College, and we have one of the largest endowments in the whole country as far as how much money our school has, to fund all the free tuition scholarships. So thought it was a really cool opportunity, very unique opportunity, and most importantly, it was here, in my wife's hometown where we want to raise our family. So I took the chance at it to become a college head coach, and I've been here for 4 years now.
Awesome. Awesome. That's such a good story. We talked ahead of time about because I'm so old, I remember Travis Ford as a player. I'm really interested in your time with him, playing for him and working with him, from a administrative and coaching standpoint. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time with Coach Ford. He just actually got the job at Little Rock, Division I job. So he was out of coaching there for a year and got back in. So extremely happy to see him back on the sidelines. But he obviously he played for Rick Pitino, and so when I played for Coach Ford, he was still younger, fiery, go-getter. He was big on conditioning. He absolutely killed us in preseason conditioning, and basically, modeled his program after what he went through at Kentucky with Pitino.
Right.
And we were going to be in really good shape. We were going to over prepare. We were going to practice for 3 hours. We were going to practice for an hour and a half on the day of the game. We were going to overwatch film. Like, he felt like the more that he gave you, the more that you could retain. So I think in today's day and age, we think less, like the less is more. Not for him. It was
Right.
give him as much as you possibly can. So
Yeah.
just learned so much from him as a player, just being undersized and seeing how he was able to do it. But he's just got so much basketball knowledge, X's and O's wise, but just his ability to always be prepared is something that I always take away. And I got to be his video coordinator at UMass, and that was back when you had VHS tapes. We didn't have all this huddle and synergy
Right.
and all that stuff. So we would spend endless hours watching our team, watching other teams. So just getting to sit there with him and analyze film and watch other teams. Just a great lesson in basketball from a guy who did it at the highest level and was a great player.
For sure, for sure. And I think he's one of those guys. I don't think everybody's like this, but I think he's one of those guys. He coached or coaches exactly the way he played,
No doubt.
and that's at least that's the way I see it. Maybe I'm a little bit nostalgic about it, but
Absolutely.
I've always loved to watch games when he's coaching because he's just that ball of energy, that ball of fire, and it just exactly the way he played. So I think he's one of those guys like I always root for. No matter where he's at, I always hope I always hope he's having a good year. He's one of those guys I just have always rooted for and always will. Um, so tell us a little bit about and this is one of the things I think is most interesting is you probably took a lot of your player evaluation skills or whatever you want to call it from sitting in that room with him. How much of that do or maybe are you even able to use, now? That's one of the things, the most interesting things I think when I talk to coaches is listening to them talk about players that I know a little bit about and
Yep.
just to hear their take on how they evaluate what they see versus what I see or what somebody else I've talked to saw. So when you think about that time you spent, breaking down that tape with him, what are some things you took from that you still use today when you're evaluating kids?
Yeah, so I played for Travis and worked for Travis, and then spent 8 seasons with Jeff Neubauer, and who I think is an incredible coach. But Jeff Neubauer and Travis Ford, as far as basketball philosophy, evaluations, probably total opposite guys in the way that they run a program. Both do it at a very high level.
Right.
Both great coaches, but two very distinct personalities and difference in styles. And so, me being able to be with Travis for 6 years and Coach Neubauer for 8, I got to see a little bit of everything from both sides.
Right.
And Coach Ford loves guys that play hard, that want to be in the gym, that are going to outwork everybody, that are tough. Coach Neubauer really valued skill, guys that could pass, that could shoot, that could stretch the floor. Just very big on the details of things, from how a kid warms up to how he gives high fives on the bench to his teammates, to all the intangible things that go into fitting into a team and being about we instead of me. So
Right.
just so many different things mean different things to different coaches, right? So there's
Sure. Sure.
certain things that coaches value, and both those guys value all the right things, but a lot of different things that they
Yeah.
think that are going to help them win.
Yeah, so you kind of got the best of both worlds there, and guys on each end of the spectrum where you could,
For
you
sure.
could draw, pick and choose the things that you liked, and I'm sure you still retain some of those things, those values and those habits today. So let's talk a little bit about the, the the setup there at Berea College, how that works with tuition, and it's probably going to blow some people's minds when they hear this that there's something like this that exists. I The only thing I have to liken it to is the apprentice school in Virginia, if you're familiar with, is like they pay you to be there and learn your craft and sports is of course a big deal. Like that's the only thing I have to kind of compare it to. But this is so cool. When I read this in your bio, it kind of made me stop and think for a second. I was like, is that what I think I'm reading? Is that real or how? So tell us a little bit about that. How that setup is.
Yeah, and you're not. I lived here for a long time. My wife's from Berea. I used to drive past the college every single day before I worked here, and I knew that students went there for free, but I didn't really understand why or the mission or how things worked until I started coaching here. And so it's a no tuition scholarship, but admissions are very strict. You have to have really good grades. So the threshold is usually a 3.0 or higher that they're looking at, and then you must come from a lower income family or be Pell Grant eligible. So if your parents make too much money, you can't get into school here. And so while that affects recruiting a lot, it really does provide an opportunity for guys that may be under the radar that couldn't afford college otherwise to go to a Division III school. I don't. We may be the only Division III school in the country that's set up this way. Just as far as you don't pay any. And when I say you don't pay anything, you don't pay housing, you don't pay meals. You go to school completely free. So it's very unique. It's a wonderful opportunity. With that comes a job on campus. So every student on Berea College's campus has to work a labor position for 10 hours per week. So makes things interesting when you're trying to schedule practices because we are a very good academic institution. Academics are high level. Take great pride in our labor program as far as the guys working their jobs. They actually do get paid to work their jobs, so they're putting a little money into their pocket. But they do stay very busy at Berea with the classes and with the jobs, and then basketball practice, and then they have labor meetings, and then they have convocations they have to attend. So it is it's a tough place to go to school, but it's a very good opportunity to graduate with a degree that's very meaningful to a lot of employers from Berea College, and most importantly, graduate with zero debt.
Yeah, for sure. And, with all those things that's entailed, with that responsibility and those expectations, I mean, there's a ton of life skills being learned there. They probably don't even realize it. They're just trying to fulfill their obligation, but there are tons of life skills there, like you said, with
Yep.
meetings and the work, obviously, and, and just obviously keeping up with their academics. That's, you grow up real fast, whether you're paying
No
any
doubt.
tuition or not.
That's what I tell everybody. The guys that I get to coach are the most mature,
Yeah,
uh, like just well mannered, appreciative, humble, just because of where they come from, and
yeah,
they're smart dudes. Like they do very well academically, and I remember my first team meeting that I had when I became the coach here. I tell this story a lot, but I came into the locker room. I'm like, what do we need? What do you need from me for us to be successful, like right now? And so I was expecting somebody to yell, "Hey, we need big screen TVs and all this stuff," and nobody would say anything. And this kid, one of my favorite players ever, named Isaac Cottle from Eastern Kentucky, he raised his hand. He's like, "Coach, can we get some ice for our knees after open gym?" And then a guy wanted travel pants. I guess they had travel jackets, but not travel pants. So and that's all they wanted was
that's
ice and
awesome.
pants. And I'm just like, this is going to be pretty easy. But it just speaks to who they are. There's no drama. Like
Yeah,
it's just very refreshing to coach in today's world that we live in with the portal and how much money can I get? I mean, I get to coach a group of guys that are just very appreciative to be going to school for $0 and getting a great
yeah,
education. And they're very appreciative of just having that. And so I don't know how well I would do in Division I right now. I think about it all the time, like played there and coached there. Like I just don't know that I'm cut out for it the way it is right now, or that I would want to do it.
yeah,
I just feel like there's at my level or our level of Division III, I feel like there's still a little purity. There's still a
yeah,
little loyalty,
yeah,
and you get to coach guys for multiple years. So just the whole Division III model. I didn't think that I would love it when I started, but I do. I absolutely love it, and kind of wish looking back, like when I was making the decision to go to college, that I would have looked more into Division III because the opportunities it allows you to be a great athlete, but also just to be a well-rounded person.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it really does help.
Yeah, and and most of the D3 schools are very, typically they're very high academic, driven schools, and so kids that are playing sports there are, typically pretty humble and well rounded and dedicated,
No
to
doubt.
that degree. But uh, so. recruiting philosophy is one of the things that I always talk to the coaches about. And you've already covered this a little bit when we started there. So, given the criteria that you have to work with, where do you recruit kids from? Is it just high school? Do you go on, referrals from high school coaches? Do you, how does that happen? I mean, you told me, you already said that, you don't do a lot of AAU stuff because, the family income comes into play. So, is, one of the hard edges there on the criteria. So what, what direction do you go? Where do you start?
I learn something new about recruiting here every day. But the most important piece, you got to be very proactive and just doing a lot of research on certain family situations. And so, the good part about me being from this area and playing high school basketball in Kentucky and coaching at EKU is that I do have relationships with a lot of coaches and know a lot of people. And so, the more that I can educate high school coaches, college coaches on our setup and how you get admitted, the better it helps us. Just because if I'm talking to a coach in Louisville and they don't know anything about Berea College, it's going to take me a few minutes to, tell them the same thing that I told you about the criteria to get
Yeah.
admitted. But there are a lot of high school coaches out there that understand how good of a situation it is, and so they may call and just say, "Hey, I saw this kid we played the other night that I know would fit you guys as far as their grades and income
Yeah.
situation." And so get a lot of word of mouth from different people that either played here or that are coaching somewhere, or that just understand the opportunity. We're getting three kids from Warren Central High School in Bowling Green, and Coach Unseld, who's down there, does a tremendous job. I've had a lot of respect for him over the years, and he didn't go to Berea College, and I don't know how much he's researched it, but he sure seems like he knows a lot about it. And he sent all of his guys up to our elite camp last summer, and we got three committed, and he just really talked to them about how important it was to get a great education
Yeah.
and then to get a degree from Berea College debt free. And so a
Yeah.
lot of coaches, have a really good understanding of the situation and how cool it is and how unique it is. And so they're doing a good job of kind of spreading the word.
Yeah, what a head start in life, to have that, that level of education and be debt free and, and plus for, an athlete to have that on their resume. I mean, my goodness,
Yeah.
that's an easy hire for a lot of management people out there when they see that come across their desk for sure. Um, so, what kind when you started, um, what kind of coaching standards or philosophy did you have, going in that you thought, this is how I'm going to do things, and I know exactly how. And tell us how, where where some of those things you just thought, oh no, that's not going to work, because everybody has those, right? When they go into. So, starting out, what were some of the things that you really thought, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and then, tell me a little bit about how some of that's changed over the course of your 4 years. I'm sure some of those things have changed. I'm assuming, but tell us a little bit about that, about your general philosophy of how you, whether it's on the court, off the court, in any part of that.
Sure. I'm a big people first guy. I know coaches talk about culture all the time, but you do have to get your culture right as much
Yeah.
as coaches say that. And so, um, like I said, I lived here for a long time, and I'm a basketball guy. And this is not a knock on anybody that was here before or in the past, but like since the late '90s, I really didn't know anything about Berea College basketball. Like I didn't know when they played, I didn't know who was on the team, knew nothing about them. So my first priority was kind of like, hey, let's get this thing going again. Let's honor our alums. Let's
Yeah.
make it cool again. Make it cool to go to Berea College as far as our social media and getting around on campus and just letting people know that we're basketball players. We got a game tonight, putting signs out. And so just trying to get as much community involvement as possible. Because I hear from alums all the time about how packed the games used to be, and that's what you did on Saturday nights. You went to
Yeah.
Berea College basketball games, so just trying to generate some excitement and get some tradition brought back.
Sure.
And pretty successful. Our first couple of years, my first year here, I was coach of the year. We were in this collegiate conference of the South and had a really good season. Finished second in the league, and had a really good year. So I thought, this college coaching stuff was going to be easy. And then after 2 years, we transitioned into the Heartland Conference, which is a really good basketball league. I joke about this all the time, but I tell people it was like going from the OVC to the Big Ten of Division III basketball. It was a huge jump. It's a very physical, skilled league, and so we're trying to find our way in the new league. We play 18 league games. You only get 25 total games in Division III. So when you talk about 18 league games, it doesn't leave a lot of games to try to find a bunch of wins. And
Right.
at this level, wins are really hard to come by because there's not a lot of separation in teams. So
Right.
I do think we've been very successful in establishing our culture, getting the right people in the program, serving our community, being great teammates, being selfless, all those things that go into having a great program. And so I know we're on the right track now. We gotta put some winning into it. We have lost a ton of close games in the last 2 years. We've played in 10 overtime games, if you can
Oh,
believe this,
jeez.
and have only won one of those in 2 years. And then we've had 6 other games where we've had double-digit leads and lost. So that's 16 games that could have gone either direction. So
Yeah.
we need to figure that piece out. But it's almost like the more you talk about it, the worse it gets, and the more mental it becomes. So um, I know we're on the right track, and I finally got 4 years under my belt. So I got a great group of seniors that are graduating here in a couple weeks. 6 seniors that I didn't recruit, I inherited when I got the job, but they have been just unbelievable guys. And we're really going to miss them. They've been very meaningful to us, but it kind of starts the new era of everybody that's in our program next year, all guys that I've brought in. So we'll see how it goes, but it's kind of been, it's felt like it's gone really quick, but it felt like it lasted a long time. But finally, hoping to move in the right direction this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like talking about how tough your league is, and I'm trying to kind of rack my brain. I didn't think there was that many D3 schools that close to you, but so do you think that the transfer portal has kind of pushed some talent down the ladder a little bit to where it's created a lot of parity in
Sure.
that at that level? I'm starting to see it. Here I'm just an hour or 2 hours away from a lot of the schools up in PA. The PAC, the President's Athletic Conference it's based in Pennsylvania. Very familiar with a lot of schools up there. And it seems like that's happening up there as well, where there's not so many kids that can jump into Division II right away, so they end up at Division III. And it seems like really, since I've been doing this for 4 years, like it seems like the parity is really getting stronger, across the board. Are you seeing that there in your time span that you've been there in that, in those conferences?
Absolutely. I think I had a vision of what I thought Division III basketball was in my mind before I entered it, and it's not even not even close to what
Yeah,
I envisioned because the players are really good, man. Like
yeah,
they're really good. Coaches are great, and it's just I do think it's because of the portal and the COVID years and all that stuff mixed in together, and so high school kids are just not getting the same opportunities that I got and people in the past got. So they're choosing these lower levels, and we're seeing better basketball because of it. But again, as the coach, when I scheduled 25 games and 18 are league games, and then 7 are teams that are close that we play annually, you look at the schedule, and it's exciting and scary. It's exciting in the fact that if you play good, you could win every game, and it's very scary that if you don't play as good as you can, you could lose every game. I mean,
Yeah,
it's unlike any other level that I've been at, where most time when you're at Division One, you go into a game, you got a pretty good feel like we're going to beat this team by 20 or
right.
whatever. But at this level, it's you play good, you win. You play bad, you lose.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah. Very,
exciting and
very,
scary at the same
very
time,
thin margins,
for sure.
for error or anything, and yeah, that's interesting, and that's kind of the feeling I've gotten, and as I've talked to people, different areas of the country, that's one of the things that I think we're seeing everywhere. Um, what you know, we talked about, the recruiting, talked about what do you think? I mean, we talked a little bit about AAU. What do you think that the role of that, do you think that's starting to become a little bit diminished in the role of recruiting, in high school? Um, I know Division III schools probably, sign more kids straight out of high school than anybody else, but other than JUCOs, obviously. But
Right.
do you feel? I almost feel like it's kind of starting to get a little bit diminished with the importance of whatever, other than maybe the guys that are on the EYBL Nike,
Sure.
that
Yeah.
are in the top 300 or whatever. You know, what's your thoughts on where that's headed, um, or anything like that? Any thoughts you have on that? I mean,
I agree with you. I personally don't do a ton of AAU recruiting, haven't for a while, especially at Berea College. I think the ease of technology and having videos and highlights, and even we're allowed to have an elite camp at our college, and so it's very valuable to us to identify maybe 50 to 60 kids that fit Berea College,
yeah,
and bring them in and watch them for the day. Like, I just feel like my time is more well spent in trying to target kids to come to that elite camp, or just be on the phone or watching videos of kids that may fit who we are, instead of me going out to evaluate at an AAU tournament when I don't know the whole situation of the kid
yeah,
I'm watching. So I personally haven't done a ton of AAU stuff, so I don't know if I have enough knowledge about what all's going on in the AAU circuit
yeah,
to make a call on if I think it's washed up or not. But I
right,
mean, I
right,
definitely see the value in it from Division Ones, and
yeah,
all those schools that um, take pride in that. But it's just
sure,
something we don't do a lot of here.
yeah. Speaking about you spoke mentioned your elite camp. When you invite kids to your elite camp, are those kids are you targeting those kids that fit the criteria for entrance to the school?
We
Yeah,
try to, but
I
we
know
don't
that's
turn.
probably tough,
Yeah,
to
we don't turn away kids that want to come and work out and play against good competition.
sure,
We always love to have them, and we'll help any way we can for them to find another school. But it's very meaningful for us to, as a staff, to try to locate kids that would
yeah,
probably fit our admissions criteria. Um, I think we've got 8 commitments for next year, and I think 5 of the 8 were at our elite camp last year. So
oh
it's
wow,
been very good for us. I think we've only done it twice. We did a team camp a couple years ago, but the elite camp's been more valuable for us. Just getting kids here and explaining the situation of
yeah,
the free tuition, and for them to see our facilities,
yeah,
and for them just to understand how unique that we are, being in Division III, where you're going
yeah,
to get a great education and you're going to graduate with zero debt. It's eye opening for a lot of kids, really,
for
because
sure,
when you go through the recruiting process, it's kind of unheard of, like all this into one Division III and not paying any money. So it's kids leave kind of excited and shocked, and it's just been very good for us.
I'm surprised you don't have somebody that has to just answer your DMs and your emails with kids that are interested, because it's what a wild and wonderful opportunity that really is. I love to hear that, that's the and I think I've seen an uptick in the last few years of schools really using those rather than using it as a fundraising opportunity for their
Yeah.
program, but they're using it for much
Learning.
more so than they used to as a way
Yeah.
to identify kids to, maybe not just offer, but just kids, younger kids, even to track, over the next few years. I think that is something that is caught back on as, and a real tool. So obviously it is for you. If you've got 5 kids, that's incredible. You must be doing some good homework on who you're inviting, to get that kind of rate of return, because you're doing a lot better than anybody else.
Yeah, and the other great thing is that when you coach in Division 1, I don't know if it's still you have 13 scholarships. That number may have changed. I don't know. And with NIL, who knows what's going on with the limits of how many players you can have and all that. But great part about Berea College is um, we keep 1,600 students on campus, but there's really no limit on how many kids that I can take. So if kids apply and they go through the admissions process, which is pretty tough to get admitted here. So I always tell kids, hey, apply. Let's see what admission says. And if you get
Yeah,
accepted, we started a JV program a couple years ago that's been very good for us. So we usually start the season. I know a lot of D3s are the same, but
right.
they're usually starting the season with 25, 30 guys for other reasons than what we are. We're trying to have a big roster just to see,
Right.
who's going to make it and who's going to play well in JV.
Yeah.
So we usually do start the season out with a pretty big number on the roster, and that JV team has been very good for us.
Yeah. I think there's a right way to run those programs, and run them to your advantage, especially if you have the staff to do it. That's all in on it. That's awesome. Um, Tell me a little bit about this golf stuff. A little bit off track of basketball. Tell me a
Yeah,
little bit about this golf stuff that you're into. I spent a lot of days in my 20s on the golf course, and I was just as bad at that as I was at fishing or any other hobby that I tried to take up. But tell me a little bit about how you got started in that, and where that's all come
yeah.
to right now for you.
Yeah, I grew up playing a lot as a kid down in Campbellsville, Kentucky. We had a very good junior golf program. There were 7 or 8 of us kids that we played every day during the summer. Our parents would drop us off at the course, come pick us back up after work. And one of those kids, a guy named J.B. Holmes, that actually played on the PGA Tour for a long time and had a great career on the PGA Tour. And I've loved golf for a long time. Always been a huge golf fan. And now my son, who's 11, he's playing a lot. He's ranked pretty high up there in the world, if there is such a thing for
Wow.
11-year-old ranked golfers. But
Wow.
he's played in the Future Masters. He's played in the U.S. Kids World Championship. Feel like we've been all over the country in the last couple of years, chasing this golf dream.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to see him love golf, kind of like I did basketball, and just be
Yeah.
passionate about it, and just can't go a day without it. So it's really fun to watch him chase that. And I'm also coaching the golf team here at Berea College.
Yeah.
So when you think about, the recruiting criteria to get admitted here, it doesn't always, you know, like with AAU, like I'm not out there at junior golf events finding golfers. Like it's hard to find golfers that fit our admissions criteria.
Yeah.
But we actually just had a young man. Um, he won a tournament this past weekend as our first individual winner of a golf tournament in 8 years. So we were proud of that. And then, as if I didn't have enough going on, I started a junior golf tour here in Central Kentucky. It's ultimately sponsored through Under Armour. Um, but we got about 115 kids, ages 6 to 18, boys and girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we play 6 events in the spring, 6 events in the fall, and then the Under Armour, they have a national championship and a world championship down in Florida, which my son likes to play in those, and I enjoy being the lead director, and I get to meet a lot of families and a lot of
Yeah.
kids. It's just, I think it's a sport that teaches so many life lessons. I mean, like any sport does, but
Yeah.
especially golf, just the highs and lows, and the mental toughness it takes to keep it together on a golf course is like nothing you've ever seen. So really enjoy all my golf adventures right now.
Yeah, that's I think the interesting thing is, like obviously it's, you're out there by yourself, and you got to compete against not just the other competitors, but you're, competing against the course,
Yeah.
and so you're on an island. It's one of those sports where you're on an island, from the time you tee off at the first tee box until the end of the day. There's nobody there to help you, So
Yeah.
I
You
think,
are what you shoot. That's what I tell my wife and my son all the time. My son plays travel basketball, and of course, I've been a part of team sports my whole life, and I'm sure you've been a part of travel team text and all the banter that goes on about this and this, and he's not good enough, and all the parents talk. But on the golf course, you are what you shoot. You are who you are, and it's you against the course. And it's not the refs were bad. It's you and the course. So it's pretty cool that you
that's
don't have to
yeah.
deal with all the outside stuff. You can be as good as you want to be.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Is you're just, yeah, there's all that other stuff isn't, relevant at all. You're just,
For sure.
you're just out there by yourself, and like I said, kind of like you're on an island. Um, let's see. What do you think? I talked to so many D3 coaches. What do you think is so unique, other than the things that we've already talked about? And obviously your situation, your admission situation there is really unique within itself. But what do you think is the most unique thing about Division 3? And it could be sports in general, since you're coaching two sports. But what do you think is the most unique thing about Division 3 that sets it apart in a positive way, as opposed to, all the other divisions and NAIA and all that? What do you think that is?
I think it's the time away from your sport and from your coaches, um, to be a student, to be a friend, to go see your family. I just think about my time in Division 1 and even high school. I mean, high school has gotten to a point where when I was coaching high school, we were playing 25, 30 games in the month of June. And so when you play Division 3, I'm specifically talking basketball. When our last game ends, I'm legally not allowed to coach, to talk basketball, to do any of that stuff up until school starts the next year. So my guys, they get their whole summer. They can go home, spend time with their families, just be regular people. And so I don't think you get that at other levels where the rules are different, where you can practice and work out. Um, I do think it makes it hard to be good, to get better as a basketball team. And when I took the job, that was something that I struggled with because my whole life, all I knew was to outwork whoever I'm going against and to have my team in there working out. And so I had to take a step back, and it took me a while to get used to it. But the older that I get, getting ready to turn 43 in a couple weeks, the more I appreciate it, especially as a coach. Like my quality of life as a coach, getting to have the summers with my family, and my team gets away from me. I know they get sick of me during the season, but I think what separates Division 3 is just that time that you legally have to give them, just to get away from their sport and to focus on academics and focus on being a more well-rounded person. And Berea College has a great internship program. We have guys go all over the world. A guy go to California last year. Just the experiences they get to do outside of their sport. I think that's what sets it apart.
That's a incredible answer. I love that. Um, Switching gears here a little bit, and we'll wrap this up for you. I'm sure you've got a busy evening left of basketball talk and golf and everything else with your family. But we talked a little bit ahead of the show there uh, about the international, and with you, in your experience in Division 1, coaching, playing, and now coaching in Division 3. Like, um, I I see this influx. Obviously it's really talked about a lot in the NBA. I don't know how much you keep up with the NBA, but um, this European takeover, this international player takeover. Where these guys, all the best players are international, and yada yada yada. And I look through I told you I was a little bit infatuated with this, but we were talking before the show, and I looked down through. I started looking through rosters, during the NCAA tournament, and apparently that's how I thought I was going to make my picks. And I noticed so many schools that almost half their roster, like Florida, half their roster was international guys. Purdue had several. UConn has a handful. And it seems like more and more of the upper echelon teams have those. Whereas it almost seemed, years ago, it was kind of a niche thing. Maybe you needed a big, you pulled one from here or there. Um, but now it's like it's guys at all positions, and there was times I think in the tournament where there was a couple times where it was all five guys for a team were all international players. Um, do is this just a fad, or do you think this is kind of where we're heading? Are we heading down the path of MLB baseball, where the American players are going to slowly get kind of shoved out, but the international guys are crazy, super skilled, and there's a reason behind that. Where do you see this going, Coach?
So I've not had any international players at Berea. I did inherit a guy from London, England, when I got the job here. I would like to have some international guys at some point. I do think they're very skilled. I don't know where it's heading. I think you probably think more about it than I do. I don't watch a ton of NBA. I stay so busy between basketball and golf and all those things. It's not something that I've really thought about, but I have
Yeah,
noticed what you're talking about, and I've got some good friends that coach Division One, and I know he's had some success from the Canadian league.
yeah,
He has a lot of Canadians, so I know that it's out there and it's happening a lot. But I honestly I don't have an opinion on it, and I don't know where any of the stuff's headed with NIL. I just know that there's smarter people above
yeah.
my pay grade that are going to hopefully make some good decisions about where all this is headed. But I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with you. But I have. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I do know that the next time I get an Australian kid that is looking for a place to play, I'm going to have him DM you
There you
and
go. Yeah, we got to get him
and
to apply early, though. I
yeah,
found that out
exactly,
at Berea.
exactly. So, hey, Coach, this has been great. I appreciate you coming on. This is a great conversation, and one that I want to continue and have follow up with you maybe in 6 months or something. But I wish you all the best. And I'm a fan for life now, and I'm going to be keeping track of Berea College, and maybe even refer a kid or two down your way. So
I love to hear
best
that.
best wishes, and again, thanks for coming on. It's been great.
You got it, Scott. I appreciate you having me on, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
See you.